Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm gonna do kind of a different video for me. I want to talk about some projects I want to do in the first quarter of 2019. So one of them is dealing with my TBR, my monthly TBR, on how I come up with that. And then the other one is to tackle a genre. Well, it's kind of two genres, but they're so closely linked that I'm putting it together and try to attack a lot of the books that I have still on my shelf untouched for many, many years. So let's first talk about the TBR. And so, as you guys probably know, I have a lot of books on my TBR. I periodically buy a lot of books. So I go through moods, and I do read like I read to my mood a lot of times, but I also try to plan things. And as much as I like planning, because again, I'm a planner scheduler, so I do it automatically, and I want to do it all the time, but my reading doesn't fall that way. So I'll have a book sitting there that I said I was going to read, and I'll keep looking at it going, nope, I don't feel like picking that up now. I'll go pick something else out, and it's not the time for it. But I don't know it until I get to that point where I'm going to pick it up, and then I go, nope, not right now. So I was finding a lot of my TBRs for 2018, I read about half of them. And that's actually not very bad. I had some really huge TBRs, and a lot of those I failed pretty miserably. But I still read quite a few books within that. So I kind of looked at how those failed and looked at how my reading was going. Like, I would pick certain things because of readathons or, read-alongs or, like things going on. But then I would throw in books that just caught my eye or I'd been meaning to read, and that didn't always work out. So I thought if I tried to still be a mood reader, but kind of direct it in a different way. So I had a TBR jar, and I know a lot of people pull for their TBRs. I know Cody is it Book Corner? Is that her name? I'll have her linked down below. But anyway, she has her wheel. I just love watching her. But and there's other people who draw from from a TBR jar. I think she does too. But I meant, like, there's several other people who do that. And I did look into doing that in 2017, and it failed miserably for me. And I didn't know why it failed. Like, I really wanted to get through a lot of these books that, like, maybe I hadn't thought about it in months or years, and I'd pull that name and then I'd start reading it, and almost always I hated the book, or I didn't want to read it right then, or so I avoided it, or as I said, I DNF'd several. I think I only did it for 4 or 5 months, and only one of the books did I fully complete, and I liked it. It was okay, and I'm glad I read that book too, overall. But the other books, I all said, no, I'm not reading that, or I DNF'd them right away or got rid of them. So, I mean, it worked in one way, but not really. It was putting pressure on my reading. So I'm not sure. I was trying to think about a way to not put pressure on me, but also to kind of still direct my reading a little bit. Now, the reason I really wanted to do this is because, again, I'm a very eclectic reader. I read many, many genres. Not everybody does. A lot of people do a little bit here and there, but I have a lot of books in a lot of genres because I do like to read a lot of different things. And I'm finding that I'm kind of picking up certain kinds of books all the time, like, very much. And then there's whole genres that I'm, like, ignoring, even though I have so many books I want to read there too. And I found that in the last few months, and it could have been just because I did Victober and then I did Nonfiction November back to back, and I failed at Victober pretty bad. I just couldn't get into it this year. And then and Nonfiction November, I kicked it out of the park. But I realized that I hadn't read like a fantasy books, like, a big chunker, like, for a long time. It felt like the last one I read was Bloody Rose, and that was back in September and early October. But before that, I hadn't read one for a while either, and I was like, wait, fantasy is like one of my favorite genres. Now, again, I have a lot of favorite genres, but you know what I mean? Like, I was starting to realize that, and then I figured, oh, I bought all these Literary fiction books, haven't read any of those. Like they're all on my shelf. I haven't read them. And then just the last week I picked up a historical fiction book. I've been wanting to read a historical fiction book for months and I just hadn't picked it up and read it. So I was trying to figure out how to get myself to acknowledge these other genres and not get focused on one, because I seem to do that. Like maybe it's just my progression of reading, that I read one genre a lot and then I kind of move over to another and then I kind of I pick through a couple of the others, but I ignore a lot of them. So I thought that this would be kind of cool, as I could do kind of a TBR draw, but instead of book titles and forcing myself to read that book, that I pick the genre. So I think I'm pretty sure I got part of that from watching Cody's videos and stuff, but I wanted to do something that was genre directed. So I picked 16 categories. So not all of these are genres. There's 2 of them, well no, 3 or 4 of them are not really genres. They're not like, but they're a type of book, or so that I'd read that kind of book. So I have a lot of like the main ones. So I'll just read you some of them here. So like I have fantasy, sci-fi, fiction, romance, classics, modern classics, historical fiction, history nonfiction, general nonfiction, because there is a difference. I have quite a bit of both. Oops, wrong page. I have mystery and, did I say mystery and thriller together? So that I kind of put them together. To me, mysteries and thrillers are kind of on the same wavelength. I did horror and adventure together. So I know that those are not quite the same, but I don't have as much horror anymore and I don't have as much adventure as I used to. So I have, I put them together here. And then I have a couple of odd ones. I don't know if I said all these. I swear I missed one. But I have books that, like books I DNF'd before or stopped reading for some reason that I really want to go back to and try again. So that's one. I have translated fiction. So anything that was not originally written in English that's been translated. That's another one, because those can be all across the board what genres, but it's telling myself to read translated fiction. And then the oldest books on my bookshelf, like on my TBR. So books that I can look at and go, I've had that book for 20 years. I should probably read that at some point. So I think that was all 16. Anyway, so oh, well no, not all 16. Okay, so I think that was 14. And then I have 2 other ones that are kind of different. One is series to complete. So they're all there. I have at least 4. I don't think I found a fifth, but I know at least I have a couple of series where I've read all the books but the last book. So I want to clean out some of these series, and to do that I need one section to be that. So there's at least the one that has series that to complete. So I expect to read the book to finish that series off. And then the other one is kind of series to continue. So I have a lot of series that are ongoing. I have a lot of series where I've read 4 or 5 books and it's like at 10. And so I want to be able to read a book that's in those series. Because I feel like this year I really ignored a lot of the series. I had this whole plan to clean up my series. But I saw on Twitter, Shannon Riddler had talked about doing something about taking out series and stacking the series or something. I'm not sure what it was called. I'll have it down below what she'd sent me. But I wasn't ready to go and do that, have so many series and stuff, but I want to clean some up and I want to catch up on some. So anyway, so that's the 16 categories. So what I've done is I did kind of like a TBR jar thing. And so I have them in as each one, and I just fold it up and it'll say like fantasy. And so what this means is that I will draw what I want to do for that month, and then I will pick the book that I want to read. So this is where I was saying I was doing something different. I don't want to, have a book like have to pick it and I have to read that book. I want to do by genre. So like fantasy, I would go and pick one of the books I really, really want to read that's a fantasy, and that's now on my TBR. So I'm not going to do a huge TBR every month either, because I want to give myself mood reading, let myself have that flow to do that, or to join a read-along or read-a-thon at any time. So I'm only going to pick 5 books, or 5 genres, or 5 tags on here. And then I will go and pick 5 books that match up to those. So that means that I'm getting 5 books in 5 different genres, or 5 different sections of what I have, that I put everything in. So the only thing I'll add to that is I might make myself read 1 ebook a month, because I have been really bad about buying ebooks and not reading them. And this last little bit, and now that I got my iPad, I want to read more on my iPad a little bit, and I thought, oh, you know, I should really actually read what I buy. So anyway, so that's kind of where the TBR thing is going to go. So you'll see it. I'll probably put up a video probably at the end of December with my TBR, and we will try this for the first time to see how it goes. As I said, I'll probably have whatever was left over that I want to read that I didn't get to December, like if I'm in the middle of a book or two. And then I will probably pick 5 books, and that'll be my TBR at this point. So we'll see how that goes. So the only other thing I'm going to give a kind of heads up to is that because I didn't put it in here, I wanted to explain. So 2 of the genres that I really, really, really like is urban fantasy and paranormal romance. Now, I did not put them in this jar for a reason. I'm going to do try a chapter videos for these at least once a month. I'm going to do one at the end of December for January, and then one at the end of January for February. And what I'm going to do is read the chapters for the first 5 books that I pick. So I'm picking urban fantasy first. I already picked out which books they're going to be. So these are the ones I'm going to pick. I'm going to do the tag. I've never done triad chapter tag, but I'm going to use it at least for the first couple of months of 2019 to get through all the urban fantasy and paranormal romance books, first books that I own. And I don't know how many I have, but I would say I have over 30 at least. I might have more. And again, these are all first books in different series. Some of them I have multiple first books from the same author that I've never gone to. Now, I'm not going to put them in the same try. I'm going to give them in their separate. And then I'm going to read what I like. And I'm hoping that more than one book will be a keeper, and I'll keep reading several of them. But I want to at least attempt, at least in the first month, I'll do the first 5 and see how many I want to put on my TBR. And I will tell you what that is. But I want to get through these books. I've had some of these books, as I said, over 10 years at least, and some of them probably longer. And I just have, it's committing to a new series. I know that's like takes away from the completing series, but I also have all these books, and I have to decide if I'm actually going to read these series, and I need to get rid of these books or decide that is a series I do want to commit to. So that's kind of what I'm going to do in the first quarter of 2019, is change up my TBR, as well as take care of all the paranormal romance and urban fantasy first books in series that I own. So how do you guys think? You have to let me know what you think of this TBR thing. Sounds like it's going to be a good deal. I don't know. And again, as I said, I'll be going through a lot of urban fantasy and paranormal romance in the next few months. So if you have any series that you want me to try, I probably have the first book on my shelf, so let me know. But these will be the first 5 that I picked. I already picked them out. So we'll see what happens. So that's it. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.